Welcome to Horizon Podcast, episode 21, a podcast empowering women to heal, overcome trauma, and embrace change. Through our community, we strive to inspire women to create a future where they lead with love, confidence, and courage, helping break boundaries and reach new horizons. Hey guys, how are you? So we are in episode 21. And, there's been a lot that's been going on in such a short period of time. And I hope you guys watched our previous episode 20. And that was also our 1-year anniversary. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for the support. Thank you to all the new followers. Let me introduce myself one more time. My name's Iseen, and I am the host of Horizon Podcast. Like I stated before, we are a women empowerment podcast that focuses on overcoming trauma, healing, and navigating life and motherhood, things like that. And everything that I speak on, I have gone through or am going through. And one of my little sayings is, heal with me and as we speak. And I stand by that. Everything is live, and everything is what I've gone through or am going through. And within the last couple of weeks, a lot has transpired. And a lot of things I've realized a lot of things. I've learned a lot of things. I've gone through so much, and I have gone through my darkest moments. And I can honestly say, I'm going on 3 years being single and being out of my situation that I was in of 13 years. And, I'm rebuilding, I'm evolving, I'm growing, I'm healing. And I've kind of brought you along the way within the past year. Well, here we are, a year and 21 episodes later. And life continues to be life. And I have definitely, like I stated, gone through my worst times. I thought that, separating and closing my business, being a single mom, full-time single mom, being in and out of the court system to this day, having to literally fight for my safety and my freedom, and trying to navigate co-parenting with the person that put me through all that, has all been a process. And there's been a lot, right? And I feel like how would I state it? What happened with Gloria, definitely as a victim of DV, and after everything that I've gone through, definitely brought up a lot of triggers. And I think a lot of people that have gone through DV that I've spoken to that have reached out can relate. A lot of women that have gone through some sort of abuse, whether it's verbal, physical, emotional, psychological, whatever it may have been, can relate and were triggered by the unexpected, horrific event that happened to Gloria and Hector, and in the manner that it was done, and the amount of social media coverage that it's gotten, and it's been national news absolutely everywhere, and I'm sure we've heard all the stories. And it's been a huge eye-opener for me in the sense of like so many different levels. This has reached so many different levels, and there's so many topics that we can talk about that this has brought out. And today's the triggers of that could have been me, the triggers of not feeling safe, the triggers of gone through the stalking, the harassment, the abuse, and then seeing it play out on somebody else. And it's been very, very anxiety driven, to be honest with you. And then to see how people think that it's okay, it's just made it so much harder. And you know, I know that we are all seeing it play out, and we see it on the news, and we see it on a podcast, because there's podcasts. We see it on the, you know, on gossip platforms where they're creating their own story and trying to justify things and blah, 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 and playing out all these scenarios. And I am here to speak as a victim of DV that has been triggered and that has had a lot of things come up that I guess I had been suppressing and just trying to move on from with my life. And so with that being said, is I realize women overall, as we know, we already face a lot of unsafe situations, you know, but this is a different level of that now, because this is done by our own ex-partners that we once shared life with, and that we built a family with, or just built a relationship with, that we gave years to. And I feel like that makes it much more worse, because we thought we knew who they were, and then they showed us who they truly are after. Even in the relationship, obviously they're treating you and mistreating you and disrespecting you. They're showing you who they are, but we are in that, you know, headspace where we don't see fully everything. And, you know, those glasses are still on, and we're not really seeing it for what it is, because we've been living it for so long. And once you're out of it, and it's so crazy to me, because my therapist used to always tell me at the beginning of this is, you know what, I seen you did the hardest thing, which was leading. And I used to think to myself, like, how is that? Like, yes, it was hard. Don't get me wrong. Yes, for sure. I've gone through so much to just be where I'm at right now. But I truly didn't understand that until Gloria was gone. And it really hit me in the sense of like, yeah, not everybody makes it out alive. And this is how serious this is. And people just want to act like it's not that serious, but it's people's lives that we're talking about. And just because you've given somebody time and you've built with them and you've created a family or a relationship, it doesn't give them the right to treat you like an object. And abuse, like I've stated before, it comes in different forms. And abuse is abuse. There's no around that. And if someone's unhappy and someone doesn't want to be part of that relationship anymore, it should be okay for the people to be able to separate and not have it come with all the emotions that come with it. Because what happens is that the people that don't want to leave their relationship or are having trouble leaving the relationship, it's all emotions that they are projecting onto you because they can't see themselves having a life outside of you. And it's codependency, it's low self-esteem, it's lack of self-love, self-respect, and it's literally them seeing you as objects, not as actual human beings with free will. And they make it harder. Like, I don't think people understand a DV person that's been through DV. It's hard already having to deal with the traumas of what we went through and having to restart over, having to rebuild over, having to learn how to be single, having to learn how to be a full-time parent or even a co-parent, and adjusting to the new life and healing along the way. And or not even, sometimes people numb themselves even more, but that creates more issues. So with all this that happened, a lot of emotions came, a lot of triggers, a lot of fears, definitely was scared in every sense. And, you know, I myself am still going through things with my father and my children. And it was hard. It was hard to hear the internet and their opinions against not only this woman and this men that weren't alive, but also they're speaking as a whole to a community. I don't think people understand that. Like, this has affected so many people in so many different levels that could relate to either or. And it's been a lot to process, and to see how ugly the world is and how they justify and how they think, and how a lot of it has to do with the culture, the way they were raised, and family members. And that was a huge shock for me, because I wasn't raised around family too much like that. Like, my mom left Mexico, came here at a very young age, had me, and it was just us. So I didn't really get to be raised in my Mexican culture. And to see that this is cultures, right? I want to say it's cultures because if we dissect different cultures, they all have a lot of similarities, where it's a lot of old school traditional values, but they're not right in the new modern generation if we sit here and break it down. It's not, and it's crazy because they want tradition, but they also don't want the responsibilities of tradition when it really comes down to it. And what I mean by that is, like, women nowadays are, you know, we're working, we're being moms, we're having many titles and doing different jobs than what traditional stay-at-home moms would be like, or women, right? But we also don't have the traditional men where they're protectors, providers, and where they learn to keep us safe. And there's a difference between being a protector and keeping somebody safe. And, you know, a protector will protect but can they keep you safe? And a lot of the times is, can they keep you safe from themselves? And a lot of these people that have these issues, and especially in DV relationships, is a lot of unresolved childhood trauma. It's a lot of the way they were raised, and how it's either enabled their behavior, and it's made it okay. And I saw a lot of that within Gloria's story from both ends, where the culture played a big part in the whole thing. and the culture, the family, the old school traditions. And you guys all saw her stating that, just stay, work it out. That's what was being told to her. And I'm sure that with Tomas, they were, instead of telling him walk away, they were fueling his anger and his emotions. And I think that what we have to focus on here is regulating our emotions, learning to deal with our traumas, learning to deal with rejection. It's okay if somebody rejects you, it's a redirection. And it doesn't mean that's not for you anymore. And I think that we all need to focus on, as I'm speaking for myself here, I'm rebuilding. I am restarting my life over, literally from scratch. Everything came down and I have to rebuild again as I'm a mom, full-time mom, as I'm healing, as I'm, working, as I'm navigating life and learning what comes with it, and keeping my safety has been number one because I've never felt safe. So having to be a mom of 2 girls and learning how to keep us safe, and going through the court system and doing it against a person that you spent time with, that you thought you knew, is even more heartbreaking because they're your biggest setback. And not only did they traumatize you in the relationship because of their own unhealed issues and uncontrolled emotions, but then it continued after. And I think that everybody just likes to sugarcoat things and like, oh, yeah, you're going through a separation, you're going through a divorce, but nobody really talks about the amount of emotional and psychological damage that it does, not only to the person, but to the children, if there's children involved. And everybody wants to make light of the situation because it's so common, right? And it's crazy because I've seen comments where they're stating like, well, thank you for allowing women to continue to be single. And I'm just like, because I'm spreading awareness that how they're being treated is not right. And we have free will to walk away and rebuild. And it's okay to rebuild. At that point, you're the problem. Because there's nothing wrong with a woman having to, or a man, outgrown a relationship that no longer serves them. There's nothing wrong with that. And it's okay. I think family members, culture, society, they need to make it okay that it's okay to walk away. It's okay to have self-respect if you're not treated right. It's okay to leave, and the other person should be okay to allow them to leave and start over themselves, because all we hear back and forth is just pointing fingers at each other. But you guys could be rebuilding something else that could be fruitful for you. And at this point, it takes so much more to cause chaos and to continue to hurt the other person. And you're taking up time, you're taking emotion, you're taking, your health, all that, instead of just moving on, starting over, learning how to co-parent healthy. If we didn't work out, when we were together for X, Y, and Z, whatever the reason may be, you know what? We're probably are better off as friends or co-parents. And that's a lot of the time, but because people are so caught up in like, well, I've invested time, I've invested money, we have a family, or et cetera, et cetera. Like I said, they see them as like, this is, I've invested so much and you're not going to just leave. Let's think about it. Both of the people in the relationship invested. Both of them gave each other time, years, emotions, and at one point it didn't work out anymore. So what I'm saying is like, we need to focus on mental health and allowing people to be okay with walking away. And I don't mean allowing, but like encouraging people to walk away and letting them know that they will be fine, and letting them know that it's okay to start over. It doesn't matter what age you're in. At the end of the day, think about it like this: whatever years you have left, why don't you want to have the best years of your life left as opposed to making them the most miserable and toxic and unhealthy, and just your focus is to bring misery to somebody else because you're not happy. How about we shift that? And this is where mental health comes in. And this is where, having the right circle of people around you to encourage that comes in, because, from what we see here is there was a lot of fueling that was negatively, and that could have avoided, or hopefully, just being spoken differently and guided it differently. Like, hey, just got to walk away. They don't love you. They don't value you. They don't see your worth. You just got to leave and find somebody else that will, and that is not spoken of. What we're spoken on, what we speak on is the negative outcome of it. Well, you gave so much. How could they do that to you? Da, 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 da. That is shit you can't change. Already been through that, already experienced that. How can we move on where it's going to be better for you and for me and our children if there's children involved? And you know what? Like, this whole situation that happened has opened up, like I stated already, so many levels. And a huge one for me was not feeling safe. That was a huge one for me. Like, I'm already, I've already have been going back and forth, like I said, and, I fought to be where I'm at here through the court system, through the law, et cetera, and doesn't always work our way. And I've been very, very fortunate to be very persistent on my safety and my children. It hasn't been easy, and I've gone through a lot. The system is not what it should be at all. A restraining order won't do anything, as we saw there, because Gloria did go apply for a restraining order and there wasn't enough evidence. It was more, they need physical evidence than emotional or mental or psychological. It's not enough for the court system. So it doesn't always work out that way. And I feel like it's worked for me in a sense because I've been persistent and haven't felt safe, and I've just been on top of God, honestly, being there for me and protecting me and my family. But in those moments, the triggers of unsafety, the triggers of my children being triggered, and them not feeling safe again, which is something that we have been working through these past 3 years. And, the questions that they have, the things that they're seeing, like, it was so much as a woman of DV that's gone through all of this. It was too much. It was too much, and it was triggering in every single way. And the craziest part is that I couldn't do anything about it. And it was everywhere. And it was coming from absolutely every angle, every direction, in every single way that you can think of. And, to feel unsafe. And, I feel like I've been able to keep my situation at a controlled, it's been controlled, right? But then to see the outside world and hear the outside world reach out directly and say all these mean things and just completely take away from the real issue just was dark. And not only, I've gone through DV, not only have I gone through being stalked, I've gone through being harassed, I've gone through being slandered on the internet. Fake pages have been made about me. Fake stories have been made about me. They've been trying to expose me too. Like, there were so many similarities and so many ways that I related to her as well. And so many fears came back up, and I'm going through it in the moment, in that exact moment, with the father of my children. And like, it was a lot. And the internet doesn't care, and that's what comes with having a platform. And not only a platform, but obviously these are sensitive subjects we're touching. These are very real and hard topics. And it's not easy to get on camera and tell your story. It's not easy to get on here on the internet where there's so many opinions and so many different thoughts that I personally can't fathom to think like that or say things out loud like that. Like, it's just not in me. So to sit here and wrap my head around all of the people and their negative, evil, hateful comments, wishing death, wishing you're next, like, you should, like, and I'm just like, what is going on? On top of the triggers, on top of, the fears, on top of all of that is crazy. And not being able to have control of the situation or change or and being able to protect. I'm used to, like I said, I'm used to protecting my family, my children, and keeping us safe. And I've gone through hell and back for that. And then here I have somebody that came on my platform to speak on her story and her life and be vulnerable for the first time ever. And then for the internet to just come at her the way they did to get clout and engagement and likes, and the hate was coming from every angle, and I could not protect those children. I could not protect their families. I could not do anything. I'm just this mom with this platform and speaking and giving awareness and allowing social media, the internet, to join me on my healing journey of everything that I've overcome and am overcoming, and for it to come back like this. And it was a lot to process once I gave my take. And like I said, it was the darkest moment of my life. And I had a lot of questions. I had a lot of doubts and a lot of fears. But once I processed all of that and I looked at the real situation for what it really, really was, it made me more we can't be silenced, and things need to change, and there needs to be more awareness and more knowledge and more help, and things do need to change. And hopefully one day things will change, whether it's within the court system, whether it's how, police handle altercations, whether it's, how restrainings are being received or taken seriously, whether it's, just encouraging family members to walk away and it's not worth it, to, it's okay to restart over. Like it doesn't matter. A change is a change. A lot of us victims can relate and resonate with her story in one way or the other. And like I stated before, it made me realize how enabling the culture and family members have made things for people to act this way. And I think we need to, it's not okay. It's not okay. It's not normal. It's not stay there, work it out. It's not do it for your family. It's not that. And there is nothing wrong with you wanting more out of life and you outgrowing someone that no longer serves a purpose in your life. And it's okay to walk away from that. It's okay that you can't take anymore. It's okay that you no longer are willing to take that and you have found the courage to want to get up and want to leave something that no longer serves you. It's okay to not listen to family members or friends when they tell you stay and work it out. It's okay to not. It's, you know what's okay? It's okay to have your own thoughts, your own opinion, and for you to trust your intuition. It's okay. And I feel like a lot of us, it's easy to say trust your intuition, but a lot of us aren't in tune with it. But once we have that, we're all gifted with that. It's when you walk into a room and you don't feel comfortable, or you meet somebody and they don't give you that energy that where you feel comfortable around them, that's your intuition telling you something's wrong. And a lot of the times, as women, we want to sit here and talk to God and say, God, give me a sign for me to leave. And he gives us a million and we ignore it. But in reality, the biggest one is your intuition. You don't feel safe when you're laying next to them. You don't feel safe in their presence. Whether it's them abusing you physically, verbally, emotionally, psychologically, avoiding you, not talking to you, ignoring you, that those are all signs of abuse, and it's okay to walk away. And I believe that, a lot of I walk with faith. I do. And religion is different to me. Religion is something else, but I walk with faith, and my faith in God is so strong. And he has literally walked by me these past 3 years and hasn't left my sight. And I believe that when you get in tune with your faith or whatever you believe in, and then when you start focusing on yourself, and this is why we preach in the previous episodes, be selfish. It's okay. And I think we get bashed for it. We get bashed for being selfish. For the first time ever, when we prioritize ourselves, whether it's us working out, making time for hobbies, dressing up, doing things out of the norm that we probably wouldn't have done before, and really discovering who we are and what we like and what we're into, and not having to prioritize, everyone else before yourself. I don't think that's really, yes, we talk about it, but I don't think you understand how important that is, because once you know who you are, once you know what you're into, once you know what your boundaries are, once you know what your self-respect is, what your self-love is, once you poured into yourself and you loved yourself, no one else can love you differently. And I don't think people understand that. We sit here and make everybody else happy besides ourselves. And at the end of the day, who do we die with? Ourselves. And it's crazy for people to say, like, and everything was so eye-opening for me, because like I said, I related to Gloria in so many ways, and I was inspired by her in so many ways. And she did it all. And as women, we do. We can. And it may not be a balanced life, but we definitely can juggle everything. Motherhood, time for ourselves, friends, family, our careers. We can do all that. And when we have less stress on us, we thrive even more. And it's so crazy because everybody talks about, oh my God, the glow up after somebody leaves someone. That energy that you were giving that person, now you're able to give to yourself. And that is why you see that glow up, literally. And it's when you start to be selfish that life starts to go your way. Prioritizing your mental, emotional, psychological self, and looking at yourself in the mirror and doing the work And to me, it was crazy to see how many women were projecting their insecurities on this woman of 6 children. Okay, she gave birth to 6 children, and the last one's being twins. And to see the projection of all the insecure women, instead of them being on a keyboard typing hateful shit, go do something. And this is what I'm saying, like, women like us that are goal-oriented, that have ambitions, that have drive, that want more, that are willing to go and get it on their own, okay? And are willing to do the work. We are willing to show up to the gym every day. We are willing to show up for our children every day. We are willing to show up for our careers. We are looked at as we're too much, or we're doing too much, or not enough. There's no winning with society standards at all. There's no winning with just being able to be women and not be suppressed. We get looked at for being in the gym. We get looked at for caring about our self-care, self-love, getting our nails done, getting our makeup, getting, the certain ways we dress, or having height. Like, something that I never understood is people knock women for being high maintenance. And in reality, we don't do it to look good for men at all. Because let me tell you what comes with that, okay? I'm a single woman of 2 children, and obviously I maintain myself. And I maintain myself. Nobody maintains me. I maintain myself, okay? I put in work at the gym. I make sure that I eat a certain way. Like, I really am into, this is a lifestyle, okay? This is my lifestyle. And I'm ambitious. I'm driven. I've stated it all before. I have goals. I think bigger. I don't think small. I don't think content. I don't think I'm going to settle. I think bigger dreams, bigger aspirations, more. That's who I am. That's my personality. And I love that about me. And once I started pouring into myself, I realized that wasn't bad, because other people make you feel like that's wrong. And I realized that that's a power of mine, and I'm not meant for everyone. And I'm okay with that. I'm not meant to be liked by small-minded people. I'm not meant to be a follower. I'm more of a leader, because I can think for myself, and I don't care what people around me think of me. If I did, I wouldn't be able to have accomplished what I've accomplished in my life, or to be where I am at in life right now. And I think a lot of people need to sit there and think for themselves and find out who they are. Find out who you are. Find out what you're into. Find out what you want out of life. Like, that's the most, because once you do that, especially, and I realized this as a mother, once I started seeing who I was and started realizing who I truly am and what I am about and what I like and don't like. And I also started reflecting that on my children, and my children gained confidence in that. So it's not that I'm being selfish and prioritizing myself and lacking on being a mother. I'm applying that in every aspect of life. And my children are thriving under that. And my children will not go through what I went through, because now they're seeing differently. And not only that, but they're loving themselves, prioritizing themselves, making sure they know who they are, making sure that they trust their intuition, making sure that boundaries are being respected. And this is what happens when you focus on yourself instead of others, instead of, men or women or who's next or whatever it may be. One, you start becoming selfish and you start prioritizing yourself. Life changes for you. And that's when you see that glow up that people talk about. And I think society, culture, and family needs to learn to embrace that and allow that and not suppress people and allow them to just be themselves. We have one life on this earth. And how do you want to spend the rest of that life? Following the culture, following family members and their advice, because how is their life looking? So I think we all need to prioritize our mental health, prioritize our faith, prioritize what we believe in and finding out who we are. And once all the noise that's been happening, okay, all the people blaming the podcast, blaming me for the platform, or making excuses and justifications for what was done. Once I processed all of that and I had control of my triggers and my traumas and my fears, I started to think logically, not so much emotionally, because a lot of our issues are with our own emotions that we don't know how to control. And once I started getting out of that depression, getting out of that anxiety, out of that dark place that I was in, I started to see things for what they were. And it's given me more, it's empowered me in a way. I feel the need to spread the message even louder. We will not be suppressed. We will not be victims. And we will overcome whatever life throws at us. And we will not go by the confusion of society, family, and culture expectations. And, I have 2 daughters that have to grow up in this ugly world, and I have to make sure that I give them the tools and that I give them the values, I give them the morals, and that I prepare them for life. And it starts with me doing the work within myself, and it starts with me facing my own fears, and it starts with me as their parent, because I am the mold. I am the one teaching them all this. We grow up to be what we were raised in, what we saw, what, how our parents are, what the culture is, what are traditions. Some people don't even know why they do what they do, but it's been done in the family for so long. So we're just going to do it. There's no questions. It's okay to ask questions. It's okay to want answers. It's okay to do your research. Now, we have internet, we have AI. There's so much that we can literally educate ourselves on and get help as well. So I don't think there's any more excuses. And, all those people that were commenting and that are still commenting and that are still sending DMs, that are still thinking about the situation and feel they have the need to say all of that, are literal people that are broken, that don't love themselves, actually live in their traumas, and are projecting exactly how they feel internally. And a lot of people don't probably know their internal traumas because they don't face them. They just live like that. So it's normal to them. So they walk around with hate every day. And I don't know, but I feel like that's exhausting. I used to walk around with resentment every day. I used to walk around with like so much dislike for what I was taking and allowing. And that's how people walk around with, instead of, and I've looked at my situation. I've looked at the father of my children. And you know what, to be honest with you, like, we've gone through what we've gone through. And even in the midst of all this, I have seen him for his traumas. I have seen him for the way that his surroundings were when he grew up, the way he was raised. And I don't justify anything that he's done to me. It was not okay. But at the same time, I view him a little differently because he's just I think it's what people say, you are stuck in your worst years of trauma as an adult. And that's what I see. And that's giving me empathy towards him. But at the same time, at the end of the day, my children come first and I come first. And it's his doing to want to do the work to change. And that's the same thing for anyone out there. It's up to you to change who you are if you don't like who you are, or you don't like what you've been through, or it's easier to live in a weak mindset and a victim mindset than it is to overcome that and do the work to heal yourself from that and live a better life, live a healthier life, a happier life, and understand that you are not a product of what you grew up in or how you grew up, but you can change that. And that's what I've had to really sit here and process from all this noise, from all this chaos, from all this negativity and hate. And that is what is allowing me to move forward and continue with Horizon and continue understanding that it's not me, it's them. And I didn't pull triggers. I didn't stalk anyone. I didn't harass. I didn't hunt. And that's not okay. Like I saw a TikTok the other day where a girl was with somebody else and the father of her children was outside of her car. And like, as funny as and as light as a situation people can make it, it's not funny. It's not funny to be stalked. It's not funny to be harassed. It's not funny to be disrespected. It's not funny to not be able to move on with your life. And for people to just make light of it, that's the problem. The problem is that it's not okay and it's not a light situation. And people need to learn to respect other people's boundaries and have respect enough to not do shit like that. Move on. It's okay. We all have to eventually start over in life at one point, whether it's a job, whether it's, a new relationship, a new friendship, family members. It's literally okay. You will be okay. And I know that it may feel like the end of the world and it may be so like heartbreaking and I just can't live. You will be okay. And it is okay to walk away. And it's okay to take an L, whatever you want to call it, however it makes you feel good. It's okay. We have to do better. We have to do better. And to all my victims of DV, you're not alone. There's actually so many of us that relate, and it was so crazy to see that as well. Not only did we see the hate and the evil, but we also saw how many victims there is. And wow. You can get it if you're a victim of DV or you're currently going through something similar and you're scared. There is help out there. It is okay to speak up on it. I remember being alone for 13 years and not saying anything to anyone. So when I did come out with all of this, it was a shocker to everyone because I painted this beautiful picture of, this empowerment couple and we're getting it and da-da-da-da. But in reality, that was not what was going on behind closed doors. So it was a huge shocker to everybody. So I know what it's like to feel alone and not confide in people. And you know what? That's what's also helped me have a voice because I did suffer in silence. And it's not okay. Speak up. Tell a family friend. Tell a family, tell a friend, call. There's help that you can reach out, and hopefully in the future I can be one of those and open something up like that. But that's future, speaking it out, praying on it, manifesting it. But what I'm saying is, like, don't stay quiet. Don't continue to get abused and go through it alone. You have options. I know it's hard for a lot of, my stay-at-home wives or men, whatever, it goes for both. There is a way out. Do your research, look around. Like I said, tell people. People will help. Don't go through it alone. And yes, if you don't feel safe and if you don't feel loved, appreciated, or respected, you don't belong there. And it doesn't have to be all of them. It could just be one. And it's okay to walk away from everything that you may have built with that person. And it's okay to start over. And it's okay to feel peace. And it's okay to be out of survival. It's so crazy to have a life where there's no chaos and it's an adjustment, but it's so possible and it's actually so thriving when you do leave. And you will be okay, and you will find a job, a career. You'll trust me, you will be okay. So with all that being said, thank you for tuning in to Horizon episode 21. I hope you gained something out of this, even if it's just a little confidence to help you in anything. Stay tuned for more episodes. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the shares. Thank you for the likes. And thank you for sticking around through these dark times and listening. And I hope that, I resonate with someone and, you get something out of this and it empowers you in some way. And it's okay to be selfish and it's okay to pour into yourself. With that being said, thank you so much. We'll see you guys next time.